I haven't knocked over enough microphones, so I'm not sure if all the microphones are up here. Good. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for getting through the cold weather and coming to City Hall today so that we can have a discussion about what's been happening since we last met last week. First, I want to give an update on ethics. As we've been reporting, we are still continuing our efforts to modernize our ethics policy. Pretty much the latest update is that we have asked the National League of Cities to help us just go over our current draft policy to ensure that it's the best policy for us moving forward. Getting an outside view, utilizing the experience of experts, I think is going to help us in crafting policy that has less unintended consequences. So the next workshop should be March 23rd. That will be when the National League of Cities, their representatives will give us feedback at a virtual workshop. And then on March 8th, we're going to have a virtual town hall where we will be looking for input from the community to ensure that we are addressing all the concerns with our ethics policy moving forward. We are targeting, I think it's May 4th, for a final vote on the policy. Of course, when it comes to deadlines and government, hopefully we meet it. That is our goal, but we won't put a deadline over good policy. So if we need a little more time, we'll take it to make sure the product is good. However, May 4th is when we're hoping to finish this process. With that, I want to discuss a little bit about our Civic Engagement Academy. One of the great things I think about not just local government, but also state government and the media and also social media is how many more people are interested in the happenings of our institutions here. So one of the ways for those who are following along and might be looking for to get more involved is our Civic Engagement Academy. The Academy has been going on, I think, for actually, I thought I had a number. It's over 10 years, right, Megan? It's been going on for quite a while. We have a very lengthy alumni list. 4 years. Oh, okay, excuse me. It's been going on for about 4 years now, and it is an opportunity for folks who are following local government, who are interested in learning more, to get involved and to really kind of just not only learn more about the process, but learn best ways to stay involved and best ways to have a positive impact on their community through civic engagement. So please check out the Civic Engagement Academy. We'll have some information that will be posted up on our social media for folks to apply for that. So here to tell us more about the Civic Engagement is our community service representative, Corey, is it Bukta? Bukta. Corey, come on up here and we'll give you time to do a plug.
Hello. The Civic Engagement Academy will meet Wednesdays, March 31st through May 19th. We meet in the evenings virtually on Wednesdays via Zoom, 5:45 to 8:30 p.m. And this program is a way to introduce individuals to community involvement. We educate them on how local government operates. We also try to empower them to get involved in their communities. We are still accepting applications. You can apply online at wichita.gov/CEA app, so that's CEA APP. There's also a landing page on wichita.gov you can navigate to by clicking Get Information, City Council, Neighborhoods, Civic Engagement Academy. I also want to emphasize that while this is a free 8-week course, the Civic Engagement Academy goes way beyond that 8 weeks. We become a resource and a network for our graduates who then go on to do great things for their communities. They go to serve on various citizen advisory boards. They help their neighbors, they volunteer in the community, and we keep in touch with all of the alumni. We help them solve any sort of neighborhood issues that they might be dealing with. And we just become a great resource. We have a vast alumni network that help each other. And so I just want to emphasize that while this is a free 8-week program, where citizens earn a certificate of civic leadership, this goes way beyond that as well. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
All right, save the questions for the end.
Oh, sorry.
If you can hang around, that'd be great.
Okay.
So with that, there's a lot of, I think, folks who want to get involved in local government who might be wondering how. And Corey brings up some really good points about boards that we have are always looking for people who want to step up and step out and to volunteer to serve the community in those capacities. So one of those boards is the Diversity, Inclusion, and Civil Rights Board. It is a new board that was made, I think, back in December. We are now taking applicants who want to serve in this capacity. The goal is to really spark some discussions and community engagement on educating and gathering input that would influence the development of policy to our elected officials. So for those who are interested in that board, which right now we're currently accepting and looking for applicants, or any of the boards, it's at wichita.gov under the boards and committees section to apply for those. So we would hope that folks would if not only just look towards this academy, but also look towards ways they can serve on boards. So speaking of public service, we have the Excellence in Public Service Award coming up. This is the 33rd award that we have had here at the city. It is sponsored by our friends at KSN in the DeVore Foundation. So we're looking for folks to nominate public employees for the Excellence in Public Service Award. And so for those who have watched just really inspiring service from our public employees and wish to nominate one of them, please go to wichita.gov for that nomination process. The nominations are open until February 26th. So February 26th is when nominations will stop. So please make sure to make your nomination before then at wichita.gov. So before we get into our street update, which we have, I think Gary Jansen here to help us talk about the streets, I want to thank all of our public employees who are out there making Wichita safe to drive. They are on 24-hour shifts right now. These are people who are working around the clock tirelessly to make sure that folks like you can get to City Hall safely, make sure that our neighbors can get to work safely, and that things can keep moving. So with this crazy weather, we are appreciative of them, and we are going to turn it over now to Gary to give us an update on our streets.
Thank you, Mayor. Gary Jansen, Public Works Engineering. I wanted to provide a quick update on street and bridge projects that we've currently got going on around the city. Sorry if I can get this map going. No go? Okay. We've currently got 18 projects underway, transportation related across the city in 2021, totaling over $168 million. We've got a map. Sorry, Megan, I guess help me out here. You're saying, are we going to have a map or not? Oh, there's a link to it? Okay. We've got a map we're going to provide a link to, sorry. On that map, there's projects identified in red that are under construction and projects in blue that'll be scheduled to begin sometime this year. There's 4 projects in particular, city projects I want to highlight, and then I'll talk about one that's a city and KDOT project here at the end. I'll start with the East Kellogg improvements. Last year at this time, the freeway had just opened to traffic. Now much of the accessibility and traffic flow in the area has been restored with opening of the frontage road connection to 127th Street East, as well as the K96 to westbound Kellogg ramp, both of which had been closed for a number of years during construction. A new ramp connection was just opened recently between I-35 and Kellogg. This ramp is the only exit ramp along the turnpike that features cashless tolling only, allowing drivers to exit without stopping and self-report their trip if they don't have a K-tag. One of the next things that's going to happen is speeds along the entire freeway are expected to be resume to 60 mile an hour within the next few weeks. We've got the west half basically of all the improvements still at 40 mile an hour, which was done to maintain safety for the workers, but we're ready to get that back to 60 mile an hour, which will be a big change for those who use the corridor on a regular basis. The final phase in 2021 includes additional access ramps to the turnpike near K96. Substantial completion for everything that's left to be done will be the end of this summer. Next project I want to talk about is improvements to West Street from Harry to Kellogg, a project that's under construction, about halfway complete. The corridor of West Street from Kellogg to 47th Street South has been identified in the Community Investments Plan as one of the largest job growth areas in the city, especially in the industrial and manufacturing sectors. Accordingly, we've got multiple projects within our capital improvement program focused on being able to assist with that growth, especially for what's needed for street improvements. This particular project has completed water main and drainage improvements. The wider lanes will be provided, larger turning radii at the intersections will help accommodate the large number of trucks in the area, which we're seeing grow quite rapidly. Additional projects, as I mentioned, are programmed in the capital improvement program further south along the same corridor in the coming years. The next project I wanted to talk about is related to optimization of traffic signals along Douglas, primarily between McLean and Washington. This is part of a bigger long-term project that we have annual funding in our capital improvement program for, with our goal to try to optimize as many of our traffic signals as we can across the city, which is almost just over 600 intersections now. Particularly along Douglas, existing intersections are pre-timed, and this is really in the entire central business district, but they're pre-timed for both vehicles and pedestrians, regardless if any vehicle or pedestrians are present. This makes the signals inefficient, providing a lot of lost time, waiting for vehicles or pedestrians that are not there, which can create an inherent safety issue, as sometimes people will tend to run a red light if they see no reason to be stopped. So what this project does then is installs vehicle detection equipment along with pedestrian push buttons and indicators to make the intersections more efficient and safe and effectively smarter. Communication equipment will also be installed, which will allow for coordination between the intersections themselves to improve the timing and traffic flow. It also allows staff to monitor the intersections and make adjustments when necessary a lot quicker and more efficiently than we can now. This project is expected to be completed by summer of 2021. I think we'll see pretty marked improvements along Douglas, and then as the project moves forward, we will be looking at other corridors within the central business district to start. The last project I wanted to talk about is upgrades to the Zoo Boulevard and Hoover intersection. Substantial area development has resulted in increased traffic at that intersection, especially during peak hours and weekends. The project will add a traffic signal there, allowing vehicles and pedestrians to safely cross Zoo Boulevard. This improvement, along with a project that's scheduled for 2023 to improve Hoover from 21st to 29th, will provide a pedestrian connection from Sedgwick County Park to the future Crystal Prairie Lake Park at K96 in Hoover. As you can see, we have lots of improvements being made around Wichita with continued emphasis on bike and pedestrian access. One project that I wanted to mention real quick at the end is a project that City of Wichita and Sedgwick County has partnered with KDOT on, and that's improvements to the North Junction. The project is fully funded now, will be built in several phases. The first phase is expected to be under construction in about 2 to 3 months. So that'll be almost 5 years of construction in the North Junction area once that gets started. It's going to make a lot of necessary needed improvements, so we're excited to see that get going. Again, only highlighted 4 of the 18 projects we have in process or planned for the coming year. As always, we try to highlight more of these projects monthly and keep you in the loop on improvements you can expect to see around the community. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gary. With that, we will open up to questions.
So one of our
Hey, Bree, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while.
I know, it's been a while. So one of our meteorologists says some of the models they're looking at could show up to 10 inches of snow here this weekend. With already freezing temperatures and then maybe being bombarded with that snow, I know this is kind of a broad question, but how does the city of Wichita plan, how are we going to prepare for something like that?
So I think we have a,
Any winter weather updates, send them to me and we'll get you connected with someone in public works.
so yeah, I'll tell you, we have a plan, and we have some of the best people working on making sure that we stay ahead of it. As mentioned, I think the last briefing, we try to get out there early with chemicals that make it so ice has a harder time to formulate on. So less black ice, I guess, where it formulates, you can't really see it, and it causes wrecks. We try to get ahead of these storms, but it also depends on the conditions, which is why we want to make sure that you get in touch with some of the experts on it, because sometimes we can't pre-treat based off of how wet it is out there. But the goal, of course, is to ensure that we have the safest streets possible, and to let the public know that you got to give yourself some extra time. The weather's going to be serious. It's outlets like you guys do a really good job with that. To know that it's a partnership where we will do everything we can to keep the streets as safe as we can, but also we need residents to be as safe as they can.
So I guess kind of moving from that, not necessarily just talking about the roads. I know, there are people out on the streets. It's going to be very cold, and, people don't always have a place to go. I don't know if, this is a question you can answer, but just as the city, are you going to be sending more people out patrolling, or, how does that work when you have weather like this?
So we've been in touch, and this is outside of the city's control, because our nonprofit community and our faith-based community does a great job when it comes to ensuring that there are shelters for folks who are out in the cold. So this week I've been in touch with some of these some of these shelters who are having extended time that they will allow people to stay. Some of them, I think, will have maybe 4 hours where they will ask folks to leave during the day so that they can clean and be ready. But our nonprofit community and our faith-based community who work with our residents who are experiencing homelessness, they are on it. And again, they're separate from the city, but as mayor, I've been getting a lot of feedback like the ones that you just provided, that people are worried about our neighbors, and have been in touch with Humankind, have been in touch with some of these other outlets, service providers out there. And also, we have a team that goes out and a hot team that goes out and talks with our homeless and make sure that they're safe and that they are aware that there are these shelters available to them. So our goal is to be, to do everything we can to make sure that people have the option to get out of the cold. And then we do get some who choose not to also, where you provide this information and they choose to just stay out. So we need to be respectful of those folks as well. Sir, you twitched. In my class, if you twitch, I call on you. So, no? Okay. Megan has a question. No, I guess not. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. But again, if there's anything that we can cover that wasn't covered, please reach out to myself or to Megan. We'll make sure you get the information. Really good questions about taking care of our residents who are experiencing homelessness. If you need any more follow-up, let me know.
Thank you.
Of course.